Hi, Chris here from The Financial Bishop, where we make personal finance easy and accessible for everyone. Today is kind of a fun little treat because I'm going to share with you one of my newest life hacks. Have you ever gotten a bag of apples and bitten into it only to realize that it's just not the crisp level that you wanted? And it's so disappointing because you know every one of those apples is going to disappoint you. And you're like, well, I'm just going to throw them out. Well, don't throw them out. Fall is coming, and so I have an alternative for you. It's a super easy way to take all of those mushy apples and turn them into something really delightful. One of my favorite fall treats is apple butter or apple jam or some sort of variety of those. So today we're going to step into the kitchen and we're going to learn how to super easily make this apple butter / apple jam. All right, let's go. All right, now that we have our apples chopped up, I put the apples into the largest pot that I had. And I got my sugar out, my cinnamon, and my measuring instruments. So I'm just gonna put about 1/4 cup of water just to get it started. And then I'll add the sugar after the apples get mushy and kind of cooked down. And at that point, I'll also add the cinnamon. And I'm kind of a cinnamon addict, so I'm gonna add probably at least a tablespoon of cinnamon to this. But we're gonna just get this going. I'm gonna set it at probably a 5 at first, just to get it going. And then once it starts to boil, I'm gonna put the lid on and drop it down to a 2 or a 3 and leave it for 30 minutes, come back, stir, and go back and forth. So it's that easy, I promise. All right, it's been about 10 minutes at 5. Ooh, looking good. I'm gonna cover that up, leave it at a 5, and set the timer for probably another 10 minutes. And we'll come back and check on it. All right. Ooh, that looks good. I'm going to turn it down to low, actually, instead of 2 or 3. And I'm gonna add just a smidgen of more water. Well, actually, let's see. Yeah. Yep. Gonna add just a smidgen of more water. So you can see it's kind of gone through quite a bit of water. Ooh, that's good stuff. So gonna add another 1/4 of a cup. Fact, I'm gonna go ahead and add another. So we are at 1/2 cup of water. Let that cook down. Oh, it smells amazing. just kind of smashing it up. Gonna go ahead and close her up. I set it to low, and we're gonna leave that for another, well, for about 30 minutes. All right, it's time to check on it again. Oh yeah, that's the sweet stuff right there. Look at that. Just gonna mash it down a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to reset the camera here and add in some spices. So just give me 1 second. All right, so I'm taking my sugar here. One cup measuring. And then I'm gonna just sprinkle that in, mix it up. Oh yeah, it's getting a real, heavenly. This is what fall is all about. Taking rotten, well, not rotten, but apples that were not going to be eaten and making, you could stop at this point and just have applesauce, but I want the full effect. I want jam, apple jam. And one thing that I've also noticed, I've done this before, where I've added just a few peaches in here to give it some, without the spices. So if I was just making an apple peach jam, throw some peaches in there or whatever other fruit that you have in there and make it kind of a mixed jam, and it is absolutely phenomenal. Just, you wouldn't think, you know, apples and peaches together, because, you know, you never see that at the store or whatever, but this is the beauty of, you know, doing it yourself. You get to make your own flavors and save a lot of money in the process, because this is all natural here. No, I mean, you can add pectin or cornstarch to make it thick or to thicken it. But if you do add cornstarch or arrowroot powder, do make sure that you mix it with water ahead of time and don't just pour in the powder, because if you just pour in the powder, it will clump. So don't do that. Oh, okay. I'm taking my, I don't know if you can see that, my cinnamon, and I'm taking a good tablespoon worth, and I'm just gonna sprinkle that in. You can add other spices like allspice or cloves to this. Just depends on what the flavor profile is that you want. And so you really get to customize this, which is why I love making my own jams. Because I can really tailor it to my own personal desires and flavor profiles. So there we go. And I'm gonna switch back so you can actually see inside of this. All right, so from a different angle, you can see now, like you can see why this, like if you just stopped right here, you could be, you know, you could have a really nice cinnamon applesauce. I'm gonna let this cook even further down and just let it kind of thicken up into a jam. Now, if you want, you could take a submersion blender and you know, and just make this really a mush, make it almost like a jelly. But I'm not wanting that. I want more of a jam, so I want kind of the thicker elements in there. And you know, it just depends. Like I might add a little bit more water in this just to to have a different consistency. It's really your preference. I'm gonna leave it as is right now. I'm gonna give it another 30 minutes at, again, I've got it at low. So I'm gonna cover this up. And come back in another 30 minutes. Another 30 minutes has passed. Time to check it out. Ooh. That smells amazing. It's getting, I mean, you can see the consistency is getting a little bit more gelatinous, which is what we want for our jam. So because we're getting a little stickage at the bottom there, what I'm probably gonna do is I'm gonna smash this down a little bit more. And then I'm going to set it for 15 minutes and come back and see where we're at. All right, another 15 minutes has passed. Really getting more gelatinous. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually add another cup of sugar and I'll be right back. All right, I've got another cup of sugar. You don't need to add another cup of sugar. I just wanted it a little sweeter than my last batch. So recently made a batch and just used 1 cup of sugar and it was fine. I'm just kind of messing with this and seeing how I like the difference between the two. All right. Yeah, you can see the viscosity of this is different than it was 30, 40 minutes ago, which is great. It's acting more like gelatinous, and that's kind of what we want with the jam. We want it to thicken up like it has, and all right. So I'm gonna put it in for the last 15 minutes, and then we're gonna put it, store it in the jar and let it cool, and then we're gonna taste it. Cool. All right, 15 minutes has passed. Ooh, yeah. Woo. Yes. That is the kind of viscosity that we want. Yeah. So I'm now ready to move this into a jar and let it cool, and then we're gonna taste it and see if we got the consistency that we wanted. And yeah. So let me put the camera at a different angle so you can see what we're gonna do here. Okay, now I have 32 ounces of apple jam. It's not quite apple butter, at least I don't think it is. It's more gelatinous, and so that's what kind of makes it the jam. And so I'm gonna put it, I'm holding it on the top here because it's super hot. I'm actually going to put this in the refrigerator, not the freezer, the refrigerator. And I'm actually gonna kind of unscrew the lid just a little bit. So, you know, as that steam, you know, comes out, that it'll have a place to go. And so I'll come back probably in about an hour and try it. All right, moment of truth. Got our, hopefully, apple jam. Oh yeah, that is beautiful. That's exactly what we wanted. That's so fun. All right, here we go. That is stupid good. I mean, just, you can't buy that. It's just amazing. So, I guess if you want to go out and buy, you know, $5 jam, or go down to the farmer's market and pay $8 for a small bottle or jar of jam, or, you know, in a little bit of time, on a Saturday in between reading, you could put this together. So, I do want to dedicate this video to my grandma who just passed away. She was 93 years old, Maudine. She loved to bake and cook, and it was one of her love languages. And so, Grandma, this one's for you. All right. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button below, and check out my other videos. All right, we'll see you next week.